Hi guys, I'm Sir John, celebrity makeup artist. So today's class, I'm going to teach you editorial skin and also the basics on how to obtain a really beautiful complexion. So shout out to the Black Beauty roster and all the things they're doing. I'm very proud to be a part of it, and also our friends at L'Oreal Paris. Stay tuned. So what I'm starting to use here is a moisturizer by Dr. Barbara Strum. And I love this moisturizer. I love the brand in general. They're really respected. They're not irritating to the complexion. It works really well underneath makeup. The thing that I really love about this specific line is that it caters toward melanin or uneven pigmentation. So people who have melanin from any culture or any direction actually can really benefit from the hydration, the reparative, restorative quality, but also the fact that it does help with evening. So now I'm going directly into complexion. And if you notice, I'm using an egg sponge, a wet egg sponge I like to use because it really gives the complexion such a beautiful airbrush quality. I know the owner and the person who designed this, and it was designed to make the skin look like skin. So if you notice, I always use a bit of foundation on the back of my hand, and I'll start to stipple this on the face where needed. So you don't necessarily need to go everywhere. I just like to go where I need coverage and then shear it out where I don't. One cool thing about a beauty blender also is the fact that it's almost like a magic eraser. Whenever you have, an area that you want to fix, like maybe you use too much blush or maybe too much contour, you can always shape it up and work with it afterwards. So if you notice, I'm bringing the complexion into the neck, into the body. And this is something I always like to do. We always want to make sure that we're paying attention to the complexion for not just the forehead to the chin, but the forehead and continuing the conversation of complexion into the body. So now we're sculpting. So sculpting is, I like to call this a 2.0 of contouring. Contouring is cool, but sometimes it's a bit too aggressive. I like to use a fluffy brush. I'm using a big fluffy brush, blush brush. And if you notice, I'm just making sure I'm moving all of the product off of the back of my hand so it doesn't saturate as soon as it hits the face. And I'm just dusting in this around the temples of the foreheads, the cheekbones, underneath the jawline is extremely important as well to give a sense of structure. And then it also just overall gives the most beautiful sense of lights and shadows. Lights and shadows are really, really key when it comes to sculpting. It's not so much of a cookie cutter approach that everyone needs to necessarily look alike, but you want to sculpt for your face. You want to sculpt for the time of year, possibly where you have to go, and what lighting you'll be in. So sculpting is really important at getting a really soft graduation of structure to the face. So now I'm using something even deeper, which is a cream contour. And this is going to give me even more stability for this sculpting I'm doing. I'm going once again into the shadow, starting in the inner ear area for the cheekbones, making sure that any shimmery products or any contouring doesn't go past the eyes into the cheek or into the front of the face rather. And if you notice, I'm using my egg sponge again to shape up, or almost like a magic eraser to blend. Blending is key. I love to work with really emollient products instead of a lot of powders because they just make the skin look like skin once again. Now we're moving on to concealer. I'm using L'Oreal Paris's True Match Eye Cream Concealer, and this has 0.5% hyaluronic acid. So that's really, really moisturizing, plumping. It's hydrating, so you always want to make sure that you're hydrating under the eyes as you're applying concealer. It just looks really, really organic and soft, and it's really flattering for the eye area. The eye area and the lip area is the most sensitive skin you have. It's so thin, it's almost transparent. If you notice, I'm using a brush, a big fluffy eyeshadow brush, a synthetic eyeshadow brush, to go in and really dissipate or make sure when I apply, I just smooth in and smooth out the concealer as I go on. There's no need to lacquer on concealer. There's no need to apply concealer directly from any tube or doe foot applicator directly onto the face. I always like to start there first. One thing I love to do with brushes, and when I'm talking to people about brushes, is to show people where to hold your brush. So when you're holding your brush, you never want to hold your brush directly at the beginning where the ferrule is. Try to get into a place where you're holding it farther back So the farther back you can hold, the more fluidity you'll have with your hand and your wrist, and it'll look a bit more organic and lived in. Always go on the sides of the nose when you're using concealer, and offer a little light or lighting in that area. And also the sides of the nose at the bottom as well. We lack light in those areas, and sometimes it can make our faces appear a bit more sallow. And we all have broken capillaries on the sides of our nose that we want to shape up or taper away. Powder. So when it comes to powder, I like to veer on the side of less powder. I don't like to bake, I like to cook, as I always like to say. So I'm going to make sure I use a little bit less than normal. And so for now, if you notice, I'm using a very sheer loose powder to set their concealer. I don't like using a lot of pressed powder around the eyes. So powder can be heavy and dry. So if you have something that's heavy and dry, it's a recipe to weigh down the skin. So make sure that you're using a really lightweight application of powder to set your concealer. That's really important. It's really important to look at shaping the nose just for the sake of offering shadow so it looks great in a photo and your nose doesn't appear too flat. So that's the only reason I'm sort of sculpting or contouring the nose. I was in South Africa and someone mentioned to me, in America, I noticed that a lot of people Westernize or Europe make features more Eurocentric. And that stuck with me. So for me, it's not so much to change the shape of nose to make it any other culture, but just make sure it looks great in lighting or make sure it looks prominent in a photo. So if you notice, a great nose sculpt starts in the sockets of the eyes. So I'm taking my brush, I'm using a small synthetic concealer brush and starting in the sockets of the eyes and then wrapping my shading or coloring down the sides of the nose and then underneath the tip of the nose. It gives a really, really nice three-dimensional quality. So now what I'm doing, I'm taking a bit of our concealer and just tapping it directly in the center of the nose. And what this does also, it just offers a bit more light in the center. So it makes that bridge just a bit more prominent. That's the goal. The beauty of working with emollient products is the fact that you can manipulate and move everything around and it's so easy and organic. It doesn't look heavy. So I'm always coming from a place of editorial skin, looking like skin. Like if a photographer can see the foundation, if they can see the concealer, I would have failed. I would never have gotten hired back. So I want you to think about that. So now I'm reaching for a powder foundation, and this is by L'Oreal Paris. This is one of my favorite new products, actually. This is Infallible 24-hour fresh wear. And so it is a foundation, but I'm using this actually to sculpt, to offer more definition. And if you notice, I'm using a fluffy brush, and then I'm just whisking this in areas to even further set our complexion. So this is more or less great for TV. If this was in a really, really editorial environment, I would make the skin less matte. But for video, you do want to go in with a bit more powder, like I'm doing now. So I love soft brushes. Guys, if you can tell, like, brushes are my thing. You know, I went to school for art for such a long time that I'm just used to using brushes. And I really, really implore you guys to investigate what your brush arsenal looks like. So I'm dusting this in the T-zone. And then after I'm done with that, making sure I blend and I'll assess how blended it is. And then I'll go back and blend some more. And then after we're done with the T-zone, that's when we can grab a deeper color and we can start to sculpt even more, or setting our cream sculpt with a bit of a deeper powder. So this is just a two-step process. If you notice, I always do everything in doubles, and that creates a Teflon face. It'll stay on forever. Trust me. Like, I've done this in concerts for years. So if you notice with this brush, this is an even larger synthetic brush, more of a bronzing brush. This isn't, or powder brush. Wouldn't be a blush brush, but I'm using this huge fluffy brush to go in. And as soon as it starts to hit the skin, I'm moving it around in circular motion to really get in and give the skin a sun-kissed three-dimensional quality. And so this look and feel that I'm doing now is kind of like synonymous with how I like to do makeup, and also how I like to use powder or powder foundation. So here's a pro tip. So a pro tip, if you notice, I'm opting or I'm reaching for a sculpting palette. And this is something I made for Lion King, Disney collection. But this palette is a really cool colored matte sculpting palette. And what I do realize is that cooler colors allow something to recede. When I say something, cheekbones, the sides of the nose, the sockets of the eyes, the temples of the forehead. So I'm going in and even further reinforcing that sculpting or demi contour, if you will, with a really beautiful gray base, cool matte. And then that kind of finishes or seals off the way I want to sculpt the face. Because remember, a cooler color allows something to recede, which gives me that depth, that bony cheekbone that I want. But the warmer powder we used prior gives you that glowy goodness, you know what I mean? Like, that's what we need. That's currency, that's money in the bank. So now I'm going for a lash curler because I always want the eyes to be big and bright. Lash curlers are extremely important. I don't always use lashes. If you know anything about my work, I don't always necessarily use fake eyelashes. I will use individuals at times, but sometimes lashes can cheapen a look. So now we're going on to glow, to giving a little bit of a luminizer or a light reflective quality. I'm using L'Oreal Paris's Glotion, and I love this because Lumi Glotion, because it's emollient, it has a very small particle and it's not glittery. It's really important to have a non-glittery highlighter, especially for editorial, especially for shooting things like campaigns or photos or even red carpets. I'm using my fingers. If you notice, I'm using my ring finger. Your ring finger is the weakest finger you have. It's going to pick up the least amount of product. And so I'm using this all on the sides of the face and stopping at the eyes. The eyes is a really good place to stop with your contour or your highlighter. If anything goes past the eyes, it looks really unkept or strange in videos. And don't forget that your body heat warms up makeup and it changes the textures to something even more emollient. And that's a good thing. That's a win. So when you can, get in there with your fingers, warm up your products, warm up your concealer with your finger. It's something that you'll always benefit from, whether your clients or yourself. So if you notice now, I'm using a highlighter on the cupid's bow of the mouth, and then also directly in the center of the nose. Between the eyes, I do not shine up the tip of the nose. That's a huge no-no. I think that looks kind of tacky, just to be honest. Just between the eyes, and then it offers a really nice brilliance to the structure that we've created. Also in the tear ducts as well, it gives you a really beautiful awakening effect. And this is all done with cream highlighter. I'm not using any powder highlighter. Powder highlighters can be just a bit too chalky on film or on camera. They just also appear a little too heavy-handed. So now I'm using, what is this? This is Glossier's Cloud Paint, and this is an orange color. I love cream blush. Cream blush is one of my favorite products to use. I'm using a huge fluffy brush and then just going in and making sure that I just tap off any excess on the back of my hand and then go in and just where the apples of the cheek are. The apples are where you see the most fat in the cheeks, and then just deposit your color there, and then you start to whisk away, whisk back into the hairline. And what that's going to do is going to give you this beautiful lit from within glow. It's going to look like you just came in from a brisk run or had some great sex or ran a mile or whatever that looks like. You know those moments. But the cool thing I'm doing also is tapping a bit of blush into the hairline, a bit of blush into the temples of the forehead, to the chin, maybe even to the décolletage in the neck area. And that gives you this beautiful, intoxicating, like feverish, blushy look that was prominent in the 70s, a la, I want to say Jerry Hall, Iman, Grace Jones. But it just looks like you fell into great lighting. Ladies and gents, please do not think that blush is not your friend. Blush is key. It's one of the top things that we all should have in our kits. So now I'm taking that powder I'm loving again by L'Oreal Paris, this Infallible powder foundation, 24-hour wear, and I'm using it with a big fluffy brush. I'm using it as eyeshadow. I'm just sweeping this across the lid, starting at the lash line. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to offer a bit of dimension to the lids as well. And just get in there and blend. Don't worry if there's oil on the lids or whatever that looks like. Just go in with a huge blush brush and start to make sure that you move that product around. I do like the naked eye on her right as well, but when everything is done, you'll appreciate the sculpted chocolate or slightly brown eye that you use with pressed powder. So it doesn't have to be a deeper color, so much deeper. Just one step deeper than your complexion is all the color you're gonna need to give yourself as much dimension as you want, trust me. I'm also taking a smaller brush and I'm going to go underneath the eyes to saturate the lower lash line with a bit of the same powder. And what that's going to offer me is it's going to shape the eyes and make the eyes appear even more dynamic. So this is almost like an invisible smoky eye. So it's not a deeper color. A smoky eye does not constitute it with a black or brown. It's really the shape it encompasses. And it offers like a feline sensibility that gives the eyes, honestly, an awakened look, even though we're seeming to go and sculpt or contour even more. But contouring the eyes is a really great idea. So now what I'm doing is, for lips, I'm reaching for L'Oreal Paris Rouge Signature, one of my favorite products for lips. I love it because of the doe foot applicator it offers, so I don't necessarily need a lip liner. So I'm using this directly on the lips, and you don't need a lot. The cool thing is that it stays all day. It comes in really, really great colors, and I even, if you notice, I'm taking my finger and just tapping it in so it doesn't look too literal. I like a lip that, at times, that looks really, really soft and just lived in, instead of the perfection that we see on the red carpet. And after I'm done, any excess that I'll have on my finger, I'll just tap it into the cheeks to just warm up the cheeks even further. So there you have it, guys. This is kind of my take on really classic natural editorial skin. She looks rich. She looks like herself, and that's it. That's kind of what I think that a natural skin should look like. It should be believable and it should translate well. When I say translate, it should translate into any outfit in front of any lens for anyone. Hey guys, this is Sir John, and I'm here with the Black Beauty Roster Summit, and I believe that you guys have seen my masterclass just now on Complexion. So I'm super excited to talk to you guys, and I don't necessarily see I don't see the video playing at the same time, but I'm here for any questions you guys have about Complexion, and all of those things. It's really, really important for us to make sure that we, in these spaces as makeup artists, are really cultivating a beautiful, easy, believable complexion as makeup artists. And that translates well. When I say translates, you want to make sure that it translates from film to television. Maybe if you have to do red carpet, they're all in novel directions. Stadiums, I've had to do stadiums like Stade de France and Wembley Stadium, with Beyonce or things like that, is a different face than it is for the cover of Elle, for the cover of Vogue, or cover of Harper's Bazaar. And also for television, television is a different beast as well. So just knowing your craft, knowing that complexion is currency, money in the bank. And when I say that, as a makeup artist, what has got me here, what keeps me here, isn't the big bright eyeshadows or the cut crease. What gets you to a place that you really respect it as a makeup artist is giving someone like a beautiful, gorgeous complexion. Even if you're not a makeup artist who's working in fashion and beauty, even if you have personal clients and you do weddings, women will follow you to the ends of the earth if you can offer them a beautiful, seamless complexion. And when I say that, it doesn't have to be lacquered from forehead to chin. It should be minimal. It should look easy. No one should compliment you on your foundation. Just a heads up, as a makeup artist, if the photographer or a cameraman or anyone can see the foundation, I wouldn't be hired again. If a client can see the foundation or the concealer, that is a no-no. And so I want everyone to, let's ease up, let's pull back on coverage. I know that we're leaving an era of heavily contoured, manipulated faces. And I think, and I know that the post-pandemic has allowed us to be comfortable in our own skin. We're all on Zooms, we're all virtually working together, and I've been okay wearing less, doing less. So hopefully that will lean into the future of beauty with a little bit more ease, a little bit more minimalism when it comes to how we apply foundation. in a lighter application, a lighter hand. If you're listening to anything else from me, career-wise about being a makeup artist, is to have a lighter hand application when it comes to foundation and skin. It's one of the things that they feel like we can't do. So, and I say we, even though I've been in the business for a long time, I've been doing the makeup since I was 19, which was like 2001 or something like that. But I've been successfully working for like the last 11 or 12 years. Every job I go on, doesn't matter if it's a campaign, a cover story, whatever that looks like, they still have this inside thought or train or thought that a Black makeup artist can't do editorial skin, can't do easy, beautiful skin that looks fresh. They feel like I'm going to come in and overpaint, overdo. So that's something that we're working our way away from. These are microaggressions that I still deal with in my career to this day. So, and it's because of a culture of loving the glam, and I understand that we do, but it also can be a thorn in our side when we go for these jobs and we happen to be a little bit heavier handed than we need to be. So if anything, I want you guys to just pull back. Hopefully some of that audio that you're going to see in the YouTube, the Black Beauty roster from my masterclass will lean into some of that understanding. And this is presented by L'Oreal Paris. I'm the creative director and makeup artist for the US. I've been with those guys for such a long time. And this is all about a Complexion masterclass. Well, here we go. Questions. How important is priming the skin? It's really important to prime the skin. When I say prime can be moisturizing. You don't necessarily need to use a primer per se, but using a moisturizer to hydrate the skin is the utmost importance. Even after I do eyes, and because I like to do eyes first, I'll go in and clean up after the eyes with a makeup remover. Always reapply your moisturizer before you put concealer. Reapply before you put the foundation. When your skin is slightly damp from your moisturizer or whatever treatment you're using, is the best time to apply foundation. So I use an egg sponge, a wet beauty blender, and I like to stipple the foundation on while the skin is damp. So when your skin is damp from your moisturizer, it's the best time to apply foundation and concealer, because when your moisturizer dries, the foundation just goes into the skin and adheres in a really organic way, and it looks lived in, it looks real. The next question is, can you recommend your go-to product for a perfect complexion blend? There's not necessarily one go-to product for a perfect complexion, because we all have different skin concerns at different times of the year, at different parts of the country or the world, and at different points in our life. So when you think about the needs or the concerns of your client or yourself, you have to take different things into consideration. How hot is it going to be? Is it humid outside? Is it really cold? Do I need something more emollient in terms of moisturizer? How long do I need this to stay on throughout the day? Do I need to use a primer? So I want you to start to do a little bit of the math first, and then if I need to go to matte foundations, if I need a primer to lock in, this foundation throughout the day because it's humid or the person will be dancing or moving, maybe an important day like a wedding day. I want to make sure that I stay away from SPF on important days like red carpets or weddings, because the titanium dioxide inside of SPF flashes back at the camera and the face appears white. So there's all these subtle changes that I want you guys to start to lean into, and then a product helps. Okay, cool. What product techniques do you use on textured skin with active acne? So that's so people who have skincare concerns that way, I like to treat the skin first with something super anti-inflammatory. There's so many moisturizers that have CBD, which are really calming. Anything that's calming and gentle and water-based. So I'll use a water-based moisturizer, and then I'll go in and I'll do the same thing. I'll start to stipple on the foundation where I need it, offering coverage where I do, and where I don't, I'll make sure it dissipates or sort of fades away. And then, if you can, opt for a powder foundation and buff into the skin in a circular motion with a big fluffy brush. A blush brush, it could be something like this or wider. I like to use L'Oreal Paris's, they have a True Match powder foundation, and I'll use the powder foundation and I'll start to buff it in circular motion on top of the wet liquid foundation or cream. And what that does is it gives you a duality that makes it almost like a Teflon face, and it stays on all day. Let's see some more questions are coming in. What do you suggest for fair complexion women in dark settings without leaving them looking white but authentically Black? I understand that. So what that means is, what do you do for deeper complexions, and how do you set their foundation without making them appear too white? Well, I don't like to use concealers that are too much lighter than their complexion in any race, because I don't like that whitening effect. I feel like it just looks a little bit dated. we used to do that a lot in yesteryear, highlighting. But when you do that, you actually change the cultural nuance of the person. So one thing I would like to say, go one step lighter with your concealer. And when you're setting your concealer, setting your foundation, I always like to use a loose powder, a translucent powder. Like for example, this is one I like to use, and this is by Makeup Forever HD. And the reason I like this one is because it's so sheer. You see that? When it goes into the air like that, it doesn't immediately fall down. That means it's really good to set your concealer. This area of the skin or the face is so thin, it's almost transparent. So powder is heavy and dry. So if you're using something like a pressed powder around your eyes to set your concealer, it's going to weigh the eyes down naturally. So always opt for a loose powder, translucent powder. And the one I love is Makeup Forever HD. It's never flashed back on me. Also, there's so many different ones. Who else has a really good one? It's Danessa Myricks. She has a great one. And Miss London, which is a brand in the UK. So the next question is going to be, what are your main focus points when completing makeup in a little amount of time? Boom. That is my area of expertise, because I'll tell you why. Not because I want to, but because so many times I've had to get someone ready in a hurry, like at shows or stadiums, backstage at Fashion Week, you know. We're trying to push a girl out into the runway and we have zero time because she's coming from another show late. So what are the key areas? Key concerns are there anything that's disrupting? Is anything taking the attention off of the look or the feature in the skin? So are there any skincare concerns I can completely target immediately? And that may be a pimple, that may be dark circles, that may be leaving foundation alone altogether and just doing concealer and moisturizer and setting that. So what are the target areas I want to make sure that are calm or reset first, and maybe just a quick foundation everywhere to moisturizer. Then also, I would say something else would be a statement brow, give them a brow, and then give them a beautiful statement lip. If you have no time, don't do eyes. Just do something minimal on the eyes if you can, but do a statement lip. No one knows you didn't have time when you do a lip, a beautiful lip, but everyone knows you did not have time if you rush through an eye. Remember that. So the next one is going to be, here we go. What? My issues with makeup that I really want to work with is neck and face foundation, matching, and also makeup and skincare prep for acne-prone skin. So yes, a lot of people have skincare concerns with acne skin, and the best thing you can do, is make sure that we're offering our clients the most clean brushes. All of our products are clean, our brushes are clean, and they can see that. And then also possibly having removers that are not oily. Oily makeup removers are also going to congest the pores, which is going to lead into more of that problem. So that's one thing. So she says, my issue is that I want to work with neck and face matching. So one thing I like to do is I like to always, get in here somewhere and just see what their chest looks like. I want to sort of match the chest into this area. You're always going to be a bit brighter in the center of the face. I like to do a little heart, because around the brows, around the eyes, down the center of the nose, the chin, you're always gonna have a little bit more light here first. But the sun naturally bakes us around here. So always remember that around this area is gonna be deeper just naturally. And then you'll have an easier route to finding a foundation that matches your chest and your neck. Okay, cool. What do you think about RCMA loose powder? I love RCMA's loose powder, I do. I'm only concerned with RCMA's loose powder is that for someone who is deeper complexion, like I would say who has enough melanin to put like Naomi's complexion, or deeper, I would veer on the side of a dusting, a lightweight application, because it may be a little too, it might flash back slightly. But however, I do love RCMA's foundation. I use it. A little hack, guys. I don't tell people this all the time, but I use it on stage. This is what I use to get myself through concerts when I was working doing like Art on the Run or Formation, because the water just beads up and rolls off, and it just stays. So I love this. It's one of my favorite foundations to use for television. Okay, cool. Another question is gonna be, let's see. The questions are baking in here. Let's see. What about, do you treat men's skin differently than women's when prepping them for a shoot? Well, hey, I don't have any male clients. I'm the only male client I have. I don't really, have, because I don't really have anything for guys, because I do so much extra of a look. I would just feel like it's wasted on a guy. But I do believe that skin is skin. It doesn't matter if you're a male or a woman. There's skincare concerns that are in a novel direction. They're different. So men need clarifying ingredients, things that are going to control oil
production, things that are going to make sure that their pores don't appear as large, because pores we can't make our pores smaller, but they can appear smaller. And mattifying ingredients. Men love to be matte. They don't love a dewy, glowy look. Men also don't like emollient things that are left. Any residue from a cream left on the skin feels awkward. It feels like it should not be there. So just understanding the male demographic in that way will really be useful. And then giving them a light application of foundation is a really, really great tool if you have male clients in terms of television, film, or beauty. If you could use 3 products for every look, what would you use? 3 products for every look. 3 products for every look. Okay, I like that. 3 products for every look would happen to be L'Oreal Paris's Mega Air Volume Mascara. Is my jam. Like, I'm not leaving home without it. And I have one in each city. And the reason I love it is because it's so, like, with one coat, it's going to give you massive separation and then so much beautiful volume. And it's not heavy. It doesn't weigh down the lashes, and it doesn't flake here, which is great. And then I'll say something else I love is Black Track Fluid Line by MAC. So that I'm not sure if you guys can, well, Google On the Run, the first one back a couple years back. We did this severe black cat eye every night, this feline eye, and I used the same thing, the Black Track Fluid Line, which is a pot liner, and also Graph Black pencil from MAC. And those both, doesn't matter if you swim, cry, tear, whatever, they're not moving until you wash your face. So they saved me my job so many nights. So those would be the 3. And then also it says, how do you, I'm prepping for a beauty pageant and would like to know if there's a difference between editorial makeup and glam makeup. There's a massive difference between editorial and glam makeup. And I'll give you an example. I'll illustrate something for you. So when I say glam is going to be the red carpet, in Hollywood or something like that. Women, like when a woman's going out to dinner or like with her girlfriends, she doesn't want the no makeup that fashion loves. No, she wants a look. She wants to feel like she's going out. And so that is kind of what you're going to conjure up when you go into the pageant area. You want to make them feel beautiful and elevated and almost like, look at the 20th century, look at all the decades, the 30s, the 40s. You can go to Pinterest and find inspiration of what we used to see on the red carpets in Hollywood years ago. And it's still just as relevant today. And editorial makeup is in a different direction. It's really minimal skin. The skin should not look like it has a stitch of product on it, but it should be perfected. Yeah, for sure. And then the contouring is less aggressive. It's really intentional when it comes to a beauty look. So in editorial makeup, if I'm going to do an eye, it's going to be because it's for a reason. I want to convey a message, or I want to sell this eyeshadow. I want this to look like this for a reason. I don't use track lashes at all, guys. In editorial, it doesn't translate well. Fashion doesn't like a lash. So if we're going to do lashes, we're going to do individual lashes, hair by hair. That looks believable. It looks like they grew from her eyes, and they don't cheapen a look. At times, a track lash can cheapen the whole entire look from head to toe. So save that for the red carpet, but not for editorial. Okay, cool, boom. Next one is, I am a relatively new freelance makeup artist, and I'm not really sure, hope to getting a start with clients soon. What do you suggest? I'm not really sure, hope to get started with clients soon. What do you suggest? Well, I suggest really knowing your craft, knowing the business, knowing your business. When I say your business, what you can do with your hands, what you don't do well. The best outcome is going to be from you aggressively targeting what you don't do really well. What you do well, that's cool. Keep cultivating it. Keep going with that flow. But the things that you're not comfortable with, you have to face head on. Whether it be liner, application of a lash incorrectly, whether it be sculpting, whether it be making sure that the complexion looks easy and believable at photographing well, making sure that you understand lighting. Guys, no lighting. The biggest asset I have, one of the biggest assets I have when I'm on set, I know lighting like a lighting director. And I actually will stand up to any photographer or the beauty director or whoever and say, hey, this lighting is unflattering. Can you suggest something? When you have something to add to the conversation, whether in any direction, and you're confident enough to know that what you're saying is just the truth, and you have a little bit of knowledge behind that, move with that. So guys, no lighting, please, no lighting. That's the best thing. It's the gift and the curse. If you know lighting, you're going to be a really, really good place. And also, in terms of getting clients, how do you get clients? It's really just keep doing the work. Your calling card is what you're able to do with your hands. It doesn't have to be about social media or what anyone else is doing. If you are doing the work and you're really great at what you do, hair, makeup, styling, whatever, nails, your gift will make room for you. It'll bring you among great men. And so let that be your calling card. Don't worry about trying to be famous or trying to get anything else happening except a beautiful execution of the job that's in front of you. So guys, I have like 1 minute left. But I want to just let you know that, how I got here is by persistence. Relationships are so important. How you make people feel at the end of the day. Guys, it's great to be a great makeup artist and a great hairstylist, but if people don't want to be around you, they won't campaign for you. They won't fight for you. They won't fly you business, whatever that looks like. You have to make people feel something. And beauty can help. It's not the end of the all, the be all, but it's the start, So guys, I hope that you took something away from this. And I'm just honored to be a part of the Black Beauty roster. And don't forget to go to the Black Beauty roster's YouTube page later today for the video of the masterclass I did on complexion with voiceover. So I'll talk to you guys later. Hope you're well.
You're worth it. 3 words we have all heard at least 1,000 times, right? You're worth it. But do you really understand what that means? It's a beautiful reminder to us all that we have worth. You have reason and rarity. There is value in each and every one of us, including you. That is precious even on the days you might not feel it. You never depreciate in value. Those words are there to remind you. So to all those watching who feel like that or have ever felt like that, focus on what I'm about to say and repeat after me. I'm worth it. Okay? Maybe that felt great, or perhaps that felt weird. Let's go again. First, take a deep breath and let it out. Forget the naysayers and silence the critics, even if the harshest words are the ones you say to yourself. Do not doubt yourself, and this time, speak it louder, really loud. I'm worth it. And the next time you hesitate before going after something you want, the next time you blush and brush off a compliment, the next time you doubt your place in the world, in the workplace, in your home, or in your own skin, say these words to yourself: I'm worth it. And I know you will always say it like you mean it. I'm worth it. Because you are. And always will be. Got that?